Hi, I'm State Representative Tony Hwang. I'm here with Chief Richard Fellner from the Fairfield Fire Department, Chief Gary McNamara from the Fairfield Police Department, and for us to be here, it's a reaction to hearing the news of Osama bin Laden's capture last night. And for me, it was a very somber moment, and one of reflection that I'm glad that he was caught and some degree of justice was done, but more than anything else, my thoughts and emotions rush back to 9/11 and what that meant in the lives that were lost, the lives that were impacted. And I felt that this memorial here at Sherwood Island reflected, our honor and our respect to those people that were lost. So for me, it's extremely important to take a moment back that as we've seen that there's a range of emotions that have come up in capturing Osama, but I felt the most important part of it was to come to here to honor those that have been dramatically impacted by the crime that he masterminded, and to reflect back that this is a small closure for all the people who have suffered from what has occurred from 9/11. Now, Chief Fellner, I wanted to ask you what you thought of that capture.
Well, I thought it was long overdue. I'm glad we did it, and our military and our government does a great job. And as I always said, we're Americans and we never give up, and sooner or later we'll get where we want to go. And it proves again as Americans that we accomplished our mission. And again, we have to remember the families that lost their loved ones. They can never be replaced, but the closure is there on that end. We still have to leave the door open, and for other terrorists, this has to stop.
And Chief?
Yeah, I think it closes a chapter, but the book remains open. And I think that we should take a moment and be happy in the sense that he is caught and captured or taken care of, and but then reflect on those people that gave their lives, all the innocent victims, all the emergency responders, all those people that were the true victims that day. But I think we're all victims, and I think that's why this is here. This memorial is here for those times. It's highlighted the fact that it comes back into our hearts, it comes back into our minds, and we should be here. We should be here to honor those people and reflect on it, and at the same time remind ourselves to remain vigilant. And really, if you see something, say something. If it's suspicious, really report it. We always want to make sure that we remind ourselves that in this time of light celebration and reflection, we also have to keep our eye on the future and do our best on a local level to prevent a national event.
What does 9/11 mean to you? What kind of impact has it had on you as a law enforcement officer, as a parent, and as a citizen of this community?
I think it shows us that there are greater evils in the world than us, and I think it brings us back to the fact that live life to the fullest, become more of a community, know your neighbors, get involved with your friends and neighbors, and I don't know, just to understand that amount of loss can happen in an instant is tragic, and it's truly heartfelt. It's just in one moment's time, so many people, friends and relatives and neighbors and people from our communities can lose their lives in a second. That you really have to embrace your community when you can. And at the same time, it's changed me in the sense of saying we all play a part in preventing it. We at a local level affect national events, and taking action, calling if you see something suspicious can really affect a national event. And I don't think any of us look at the world differently. We were all victims that day. Obviously, I didn't lose a loved one, but it changed all of us.
Well, Chief, what about you? What does 9/11 mean to you?
Don't let our guard down for one incident. And 9/11, it was a sad day in all our lives, and it just touched all our hearts. And it shouldn't have happened, but let's not let our guard down. You never know. as Chief McNamara said, instant things could change. And as American people, we have to work together, we have to stay together. Don't let our guard down. And the main thing is working together as Americans, as we always do.
Now, for me, you know, 9/11 and that moment in time has been defined as the Kennedy moment for me and a whole generation of people. Now, do you remember where you were or where you were supposed to be at 9/11?
Yes, I was, because again, I have the announcement in my office. I belong to the Fire Safety Directors Association in New York, Manhattan Division, and they had a meeting that morning. But to the fact where I had a little surgery on my hand,
In New York City, in Lower Manhattan?
Yes, I was supposed to be at the New York Athletic Club that morning at 8:30, and I was getting dressed that morning, and because of the fact I had my hand all bandaged up, I said, no, I'm not going to go today. But in case if anyone didn't believe that, I framed the announcement where I was supposed to be that day. And the last minute I was dressed. I said, no, I'm not going to go down. So I would have liked to be there.
You wanted to be there?
I wanted to be there, no question about it. Yep, I wanted to be there, and I would have been one of them that would step forward. That's just who I am and what I do.
Chief, what about you?
I think anybody that puts a uniform on, be it fire, police, emergency, medical services, or our military, does so because they want to prevent it from happening again in some form or fashion. And I think it's important for people to recognize that. So any one of us does that because we want to protect our communities. And you know, any one of us would have wanted to be there to help if we could.
And that's who we are. Police, fire, emergency, medical people. That's who we are. We're ready to go into battle. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing what we do for a living.
But we can't do it alone. We need the community support.
We need the community support.
Yeah,
that's what's important.
We need people to help us do it.
Well, you know, 10 years later, post 9/11, one of the things that I held dear to, and you talk about this is who we are, this is America. One of the things I came away with from 9/11 was the tremendous outpouring of community support, the community connectedness that, you know, in these days of political animosity, of partisanship, that during that time there was no parties, there were no bias arguments. Everybody extended their hands and helped their neighbors. Did you get that sense?
Let us not forget that. Unfortunately, it had to take something like that to bring us back together. And that's where let's hope that we don't have to have something like that to bring us back together.
Can you bring an example of that kind of selfless sharing that really made an impression on you?
Well, it just, you know, a lot of times when tragedy does happen, it brings us all together. It's unfortunate it has to happen that way, but, you know, I guess that's life. But again, we just have to stay with it, remind the people we need to all work together, as the chief also said.
And as you said, it is the resiliency, it is the unique character of America. From the wars, from the depressions, the Americans have put themselves together, pulled themselves up by the bootstrap, and made things happen for the better of our country. And how about you, an example that you saw?
Well, I think it's more than the ribbons on the cars, it's more than the flags, it was a feeling. People began to put the flags as a show of support, but it was that general feeling on the inside that mattered. And I think that you know, we would walk places and people would actually come up and thank us, similar to what we do for the military. There was that sense that we were all as one, and you know, I think life goes on, and I think that people gradually you know, drift away from that. I don't think we could live in that sense of vigilance every second of the day, but I do think that at times like this, we all come together to remember that, you know, when we need each other, we all come together for it.
Well, and you bring up a great point, and truly it's an honor to have both of you take time from your busy schedule to do this, but I felt that was important to take a step back and also thank both of you.
Thank you.
Your service in the firefighters in our community and the police officers in our community. I still remember that firefighters and police officers, as they went out and did their jobs, were cheered, just as we do nowadays for our veterans and people who are fighting in the military on our behalf and protecting us. I hope people remember that first responders, like the firefighters and EMS and police officers, put themselves at risk, put their lives at risk to protect us, just as they ran into the buildings of 9/11 without any concern of their safety, with the premise of saving lives and risking their lives.
No second guess. Police and fire and medical workers went right in. That's what we do. There's no question.
Every day.
That's what we do, every day.
24 hours a day, there's somebody, if there's something wrong going on, one of those or all of those services are there, and they're there to help.
And we don't back away, we go right in. You know, so.
Thank you for bringing us together. Because,
thank you very much.
Because
appreciate it.
It's good to be here. It really
Well,
is.
it's truly, it's something that was important that I wanted to do, to obviously honor the people who were lost, and our whole generation that's impacted by this. But also, I did want to take a moment to thank both of you.
Thank you.
And all your men and women who protect us in our community for the work that you do. And you know, to me,
thank you.
Something I'll never forget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again. Thank you.